2010 was an interesting year for the WWE. It was an era where the old stars were still wrestling, like Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. They were still full time, but there was just a new crop of talent coming up through the ranks at the same time, and that balance is something which the WWE in reality struggled with. And 2010 is considered one of the most barren years in WWE creative. Can we change it though? Of course, we're going to be doing Raw, Smackdown, and ECW. So that's a lot of shows we're booking here. Let's just hope we can pull it off. And we kick off our first episode of Raw with Bret Hart making his big return. It's the segment which kicked off the decade in reality. Great stuff. It's what it was needed, because this was the first episode running against TNA in the second Wrestling War. And we kick off with Mr. McMahon in the ring, and he welcomes Bret Hart down the ramp. And Bret Hart goes to talk, and Shawn Michaels' music hits, and Shawn Michaels comes out, and he's just like, "Hey, Bret, welcome back, Bret." And there's a bit of tension there, but there's nothing outright is ever said. They tentatively go for a hug, but when the hug comes out, you can see on Shawn Michaels' face that something's not quite right. It gets a 79 rating. Ratings we are going to work on improving throughout this save, obviously. And we get so that's our first segment of the show. We move on to a Divas title tournament, because the title was vacated, so we're going to have a quick tournament. And tonight, Gail Kim defeats Maurice with an inverted stomp face breaker. Gets a 53 rating. Gail Kim a 49, Maurice 53. Good stuff from both girls there. Good road. Triple H was good road agent. That's good. Gail Kim is an awful gimmick. Awful. Not even bad. That's awful. It's a shame there's no way to get the notes tab up anymore. Gets a 53 though. Second part is with a K2. Nikki Bella loses to Kelly in the second of this tournament. Kelly is so we're going to be Kelly versus Gail Kim in the final of the Divas tournament. Gets a 44 this one. Kelly a 48, Nikki Bella a 40 flat. Poor psychology, and Nikki Bella's both girls were inexperienced, but we are working on that. We then get backstage and we see Randy Orton beating down Sheamus. It sort of cuts mid-fight. We sort of cut away from the Divas match to see this, which makes sense from this time. Yeah, Randy Orton's just attacking Sheamus, and he gets on his hands and knees and he just punts Sheamus' head into the wall. Sheamus is out cold. Sheamus' medical road agents swarm in, separate the two, and Orton is dragged away. Gets a 74 rating, and it starts Orton versus Cena versus Sheamus storyline. We then get The Miz comes out and cuts this bragging promo about how he is the United States Champion, how he is the must-see WWE superstar. And he gets interrupted by Kofi Kingston, of course, the man who Miz beat for the United States Championship back in October, I think. I can't remember. 2009 was a blank period for me. 9 gets a 75 rating, as we're going to rebuild to a rematch between Kofi Kingston and The Miz. Because 75 is good stuff, you know. We then get a tag team match as Legacy defeats the World's Strongest Tag Team when Cody Rhodes defeats MVP with a Crossroads. Cody Rhodes gets a 66, Ted DiBiase 56. It was a bit too long at 15:42, so no longer than 15 minutes apparently, which is nice to know, considering we've got the Royal Rumble coming up. Oh god, that's going to be long. 62 rating overall. And Shawn Michaels and Triple H are called out next, as Legacy just goes, DX, we want those titles. We want those titles back. You know we can beat you, because we've beaten you before. So we're going to beat you again. And this time we're going to take your precious titles away from you. Gets a 64 rating, building up the Legacy versus DX. John Cena comes out to the ring. He talks about how he wants a rematch against Sheamus. He lost his title in the tables match at TLC, and now he wants a rematch. And Orton comes out and he goes, No. You wait in line. You've had your shot. You were the last champ. You've had your chance. You lost. You lost in that tables match. You lost your title. You don't just get to go straight to the front of the line. I'm the front of the line now. I've done my waiting, and now I'm getting my title back. And GM Austin comes out. Because, of course, it's GM Austin at this time. I've changed that because it beats the stupid guest hosts. Cena wants to, and Austin goes, well, if both of you are that desperate to show that why you should be the challenger, make sure that you should do anything to win the title. So next week you're going to face each other in the main event of Raw in a #1 contenders match. We're going to get DX on screen, and you can see, and DX accept the challenge. Triple H does all the talking here, because Michael's mind is quite obviously elsewhere. He's just not quite with it. He's sort of distracted. He's sort of looking off into the middle distance, and Triple H keeps looking over. It's like, what's wrong? What's bothering you? And Sean's just blank. He says a few lines, but they feel empty. It's a 74 overall. And then Austin comes out again and he announces that there will be a Divas Champion crowned tonight. You're not having to wait until next week. Kelly versus Gail Kim will be happening next. And the match does happen. Next gets a 48. Gail Kim gets a 49. Kelly a 48. Good stuff. And Gail Kim defeats Kelly in 9:47 with the inverted stomp facebreaker. And Gail Kim wins the Divas title. And that's it. We have a quick Divas tournament in one night. And boy, oh boy, Gail Kim in 2010, starting 2010 as our Divas champion. 48 rating. Cut backstage, we're interviewing Todd Grisham. He's having an interview with Carlito. It's a genuine interview. Carlito's just going on now about how he's been struggling of late, and he wants to go back to when he was on top. Then we can move to another place backstage. We see Mark Henry and MVP having a bit of a little argument. It's nothing dramatic, like they're not gonna break up, but they're just having a bit of an argument. Gets 57 rating. And then our main event sees Randy Orton defeat Evan Bourne quite quickly, 8:20 with an RKO. Gets 76 rating. 77 for Orton, 65 for Bourne. And we had Cena on commentary just to try and advance that storyline. We finished this first episode of Raw. Gets a 78. It lost us pop in 5 regions, gained it in 7. Should probably be doing better though for the first show. 78 is not bad. Let's go to, I think, is it Smackdown or ECW next? Well, we'll find out in 3, 2, 1. And it's ECW. It's ECW next. They're all live. ECW's on Tuesdays and Smackdown is on Fridays. And we kick off ECW with Taryn Terrell in the ring, who was at this point Tiffany and the GM of ECW, but I've renamed her to Taryn Terrell because it's what I know her as. She was much more famous as Taryn Terrell. Rather than give her a new name, such as Tiffany, let's just keep her as Taryn Terrell. She goes up and she announces the Pure Tournament to crown the secondary champion in ECW. Raw has the United States champion. SmackDown has the Intercontinental champion. ECW will have the Pure champion, and it'll be 2 round-robin groups to decide a final, and that finalist will become the first ever Pure champion of ECW. And let's meet the 8 contestants. And here they are. Daniel Bryan from FCW, Charlie Haas, Chavo Guerrero Jr., Cabal, Paul Burchill, Shelton Benjamin, William Regal, and Zack Ryder. The groups are, in Block A, you have Daniel Bryan, Chavo Guerrero, Paul Burchill, and William Regal. In Block B, you have Charlie Haas, Cabal, Shelton Benjamin, and Zack Ryder. Burchill and Kaylee Burchill are an awkward pairing. That's great stuff to know. It gets 52, and this is pretty much those segments where it shows a clip of them doing technical wrestling whilst they talk over it, and they pretty much just introduce who they are. Think the start of the Cruiserweight Classic. That's what this is. Also, 2 call-ups. Daniel Bryan and Caval have both come up from FCW. Great stuff. Bryan is great at improvising. Caval isn't. Gets a 52 rating though. And our first tournament match is abysmal apparently, but sees Daniel Bryan defeat Paul Burchill in 11:45 with a Dragon Suplex. It was part of Block A. Bryan gets a 52, Burchill 45, and advances our pure title storyline and gains it. He gets 53. The second tournament match is Block B, which sees Zack Ryder lose to Charlie Haas in also an abysmal match. Ryder gets 49, Haas a 45, loses heat on storyline, gets a 46 overall. After that match, we see William Regal and Chavo, because they're going to be fighting next week, and they're both chatting about their match across a cut screen ad. Gets 62 rating for their promos, and the main event segment sees Christian come out and he's like, well, everyone's caught up in this pure tournament. Who the hell am I supposed to face? I'm the ECW champion. And, well, he gets attacked by Vladimir Kozlov. Well, he's the only person we had left, really. Rather than... He was the only person of any sort of quality left. And the pure tournament is about building these people up. Gets a 60 rating, though. It's a 54 overall, which, considering it's a B show, I ain't too mad about. It's only 1 hour for ECW, which, considering the size of the roster, makes sense. But let's move on to Smackdown in 3, 2, 1. And we come to Smackdown now, the third show of this week and of this episode, as we kick Smackdown off with The Undertaker comes out to cut promo as the World Heavyweight Champion. He's talking about how he is the champion and nobody can touch the dead man. Nobody is going to be able to beat him because he's going to take this title into WrestleMania and nobody can beat him at WrestleMania. Batista comes out and goes, yeah, you're right. I couldn't beat you at WrestleMania before. I've beaten you though. You're not untouchable. Ray comes out, who was feuding with Batista previously to this, and goes, oh, yo, Batista, wait your turn. You keep going on about how you think you're entitled to everything, but I'm telling you, no, you're not entitled. You stabbed me in the back, and I ain't gonna let you forget that. Punk comes out and was like, Ray, come on. Look at the size of these men in the ring. The Undertaker, Batista, and look at you. You're never going to be able to size up. Whereas Undertaker screwed me out of my title. I deserve this shot. Kane comes out and pretty much mocks CM Punk for even mentioning size. Jericho comes out and starts going on about how Kane, you say you're this legend. What have you actually ever done? You had a one-day title reign 20 years ago. Wow, so legendary. And Teddy Long comes out and goes, holla, 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 you're going to have a tag team match, player. Simple stuff, I have Teddy Long. Of course I was going to do a multi-man tag to start off. Yeah, so this 81 rating. Good stuff from a few guys. Kane underperformed. Mysterio struggled off script. And Kane was very poor improvising. We then get Drew McIntyre cutting a promo backstage. And R-Truth just stumbles into the shot without almost seemingly realising. He just walks in front of the camera and Drew's just like, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? And Drew's like, oh, sorry, my bad, I didn't realise. Simple, dumb Truth stuff. Drew looks angry. Drew looks pissed at Truth. And we get our first match of the night, which sees Mickie James defeat Natalya with the Mickey DT. Mickie James is 66, Natalya 53. Great stuff compared to the women's performances on Monday. Gets a 64 overall. Mickie is phenomenal. And after the match, she gets attacked by Laycool. They just come in and they beat us down. By the way, our announced team on SmackDown at the moment is Michael Cole, and the injured Edge is currently working on colour commentary. Because it turns out he had 92 colour. I'm not going to resist that. Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio just chat backstage about how they've done, about their careers, how they're both their history together. To talk about the WrestleMania 19 match. I think it was WrestleMania 19. Yeah, where they fought for the Cruiserweight title, and they're just sitting there chatting as Rey's getting ready for his main event match. DX turn up, because of course they're the dual brand tag titles, and Crime Time come up, and they're like, Yo, let's get rid of this crap. Let's screw this joint title thing. You got Legacy challenging on Raw. We're challenging you here on SmackDown, and we're gonna take those SmackDown tag titles away from you and leave you. And you can run off with your tail behind your legs back to Raw because you don't belong on SmackDown. This is our show. We get a quick match between the two as Shawn Michaels defeats Shad Gaspard with a quick roll up. It's an 86 rated match. Michaels get an 84, which is great. 68 rated even. Gaspard a 53. Good stuff. Shawn as 84 is phenomenal. And we're backstage, and R-Truth's getting beaten up by Drew McIntyre after we interfered in Drew's promo earlier. Simple stuff. We saw Drew pissed earlier. We're paying it off later in the night. And quick tag team match sees the Hart Dynasty defeat Master J, Slam Master J, and Jimmy Wang Yang when David Hart Smith defeats Slam Master J with the Springboard Heart Attack. Slam Master J was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone's own performance. 35, Kid got 61, David Hart got 56, Jimmy Wang got a 51. It's 55 overall, and Tyson Kidd and Natalya don't work well together, unfortunate. We then get Punk and Jericho, who are teaming in the main event tonight, and Jericho's chatting to Punk and he's like, dude, you need to fix your act. Look at you. Look at you, you're completely lost in this mystery of alcoholism. You need to be saved. I can save you. Come straight edge with me. And Jericho's kind of a bit miffed at Punk's offer, but doesn't turn it down. Gets a 73 rating. Gallows is terrible with improvising. And then the main event match sees Jericho, Punk, and Batista defeat Mysterio and the Brothers of Destruction when CM Punk pins Kane with the Pepsi Plunge. Look at those ratings. Mysterio gets an 82. Kane is 71. Taker is 79. Batista is 68, which is disappointing, considering he's the world champion, #1 contender. Punk gets a 79. Jericho an 81. Continues 2 storylines, gaining both heat. And the show ends with Kane had just been beaten by the Pepsi Plunge, and Batista just hits a Batista bomb on Taker. Overall, gets a 79, increases our pop in 1 region, loses us pop in 5. God, that's not great. Oh, let's go back to the home screen. Oh, that's interesting. Wrestle Kingdom 4 was last night. What did they do? Oh God, look at that. Look at that. Look at that match in 2010. Kazuchika Okada versus Nobuo Yoshihashi. God. We also got Taishi versus Honma, Goto versus Storm, Izuka, Ishii, and Yano versus Yone and No Limit, which is Naito and Takahashi, yep. Omali and Seki Gun versus Takayama and Lords of the Ring. Team 3D versus Gato and Yado. Tiger Mask versus Marufuji. Liger versus Tajiri. Tanaka versus Bernard versus Kanemoto and Nakanishi. And a triple threat match at Wrestle Kingdom as Nakamura defeats Choshu and Tanahashi. Riki Choshu still wrestling? That's my first question. In 2010, Riki Choshu is still wrestling. He's had 2 matches in this first week. God, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. So we've got 3 more episodes before the Royal Rumble. Pretty simple stuff. And I'm going to end this episode here. We've had the first week. We'll do next week in the next episode. Bye.